We've been watching for years and years and years as the tolerant and accepting race baiting liberals literally threaten to destroy the Supreme Court. And they've told us, that is their plan. Their plan is to destroy the Supreme Court. Usually they only have one target. They target solely Clarence Thomas because, why not? There literally is nothing that the left hates more than a free thinking black man, a conservative black man. It's liberal kryptonite. But lately, they've been stepping it up. They've decided that Justice Samuel Alito, he's got to go too. And they pretend that it's about an upside down flag and which the left says means he supports the insurrection or whatever. But it's way, way simpler than that, right? Justice Samuel Alito unapologetically believes in God. And in the year 2024, believing in God is the exact same thing as being a dangerous right-wing extremist. And who better to teach us this than the head tolerant, accepting liberal race baiter, Joy Reid?
As a Catholic and as someone who really cherishes my faith, I don't know that we can negotiate with the left in the way that needs to happen for the polarization to end. I think that it's a matter of winning.
I think you're probably right. One side or the other is going to win. I don't know. There can be a way of living together peacefully, but it's difficult, because there are differences on fundamental things that really can't be compromised. Really can't be compromised. So it's not like we're going to split the difference.
And that's what I'm saying. I think that the solution really is winning the moral argument. People in this country who believe in God have got to keep fighting for that to return our country to a place of godliness.
Oh, I agree with you.
And just to underscore how unusual that kind of response is from a Supreme Court justice, here is Chief Justice John Roberts after being asked a similar question by Ms. Windsor.
Now, you got to pay real close attention to the questions here because Joy Reid, she just said that it's unusual for a Supreme Court justice who believes in God to say, I agree with you, to a woman who all she said was she thinks that people who believe in God have got to keep fighting to restore our country to a place of godliness, which that doesn't sound all that crazy to me. It doesn't sound all that extremist. It doesn't sound all that unusual for someone who believes in God to agree with that. But anyway, to me, all they're really talking about are things like keeping porn out of schools, protecting children from predatory medical crazy people. All pretty reasonable stuff, if you ask me. But according to them, I'm a right-wing crazy person too. But she says that the questions are similar. Here's the problem. Alito wasn't asked a question. He was literally faced with the statement, I don't know if we can negotiate with the left in a way that needs to happen for the polarization to end. And Roberts was literally asked if there is a role for the court in guiding us towards a moral path. Joy Reid tells her audience that these are similar questions because Joy Reid thinks that her audience is stupid. And give her the benefit of the doubt. If you're watching Joy Reid, you might be. You probably are stupid.
You don't think there's a role for the court in guiding us toward a more moral path?
No, I think the role for the court is deciding the cases. If I start, would you want me to be in charge of guiding us toward a more moral path? That's for the people we elect. That's not for lawyers.
Well, I guess I believe that the founders who are godly, we're Christians, and I think that we live in a Christian nation, and that our Supreme Court should be guiding us in that path.
Yeah, I don't know that we live in a Christian nation. I know a lot of Jewish and Muslim friends who would say maybe not. And it's not our job to do that. It's our job to decide the cases as best we can.
So either Joy Reid didn't actually listen to any of this, or she doesn't actually understand what she did listen to and is just relying on the radical producers using her to control the few minds that still subject themselves to MSNBC, or she's just a liar. And of course, all those things can be true at the same time, and they probably are. They probably are all true. But these two conversations, they're not even related, let alone the same question. They're not even related. And on top of not being related, nothing that Alito said is strange or extreme or disqualifying in any way. It's really, really ridiculous stuff. And I think it shows how desperate the left really is, especially regarding the Supreme Court. Depending on whatever poll you rely on, more than 80% of Americans believe in God. And I would bet you that Joy Reid herself would at least claim to believe, right? Yet the same people who constantly beat the drum of diversity and talk about, that we got to pack the court so that it can look more like the rest of the country, they're now expecting you to believe that believing in God means that the Supreme Court is compromised in some way. I mean, it's truly, truly insane stuff. And they're all going insane together.
We know Alito is essentially a Fox host on the court.
New developments about Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito's compromised ethics and open support and comfort with extreme far-right causes.
The Supreme Court at the moment is so biased and so pro-theocracy, as you saw in what we just watched, that somebody has to expose them because they are running around arrogant, and they have the whole GOP on their side, and we're losing the Supreme Court's objectivity, and somebody needs to expose them. And they have no consequences whatsoever, these people. They're there for the rest of their lives.
Why can't we sue them in a class action suit? Why can't
I'm not sure you can even do that. They're the highest court.
Yeah, but I don't know why. Listen, I don't know why you can't pull a class action suit that says, listen, you are no longer doing the job you're supposed to be doing. I don't understand why we can't do that.
The question is, does Roberts have the bazoos? It's a word I learned somewhere. I don't know. But we all know what it is.
Someone needs to expose them, say the deep thinkers on The View. Someone needs to sue them, says Whoopi Goldberg. I mean, they need to be sued and exposed for the unforgivable crime of believing in God. This is where we're at in the year 2024, man. Hamas are freedom fighters, and they should have your support in the streets. And the Supreme Court justices that believe in God are extremists. This is the American left in a nutshell. You can't make it up, man. And I think now it's to the point. It's to the point now that you can't ignore it. No one can ignore it. This is what you're supporting. When you vote for a Democrat this year, if you vote for a Democrat this year, you are supporting people that think your belief in God or anyone's belief in God is some kind of precursor to tyranny.
Else has happened. I mean, he's completely radicalized. He's not stupid, so that's not the right theory. He's an intelligent man who's so deep in a view that even in right-left politics traditionally it isn't represented on the main stage or the spectrum. I mean, just talk about his articulation of godliness.
I mean, in some sense, look, godliness, the sort of comment to Lauren Windsor is a sort of reflection of much larger themes that are not surprises to us. You can't read the Dobbs opinion and not know how he thinks about godliness. You can't read the text of the speech he gave in Rome right after Dobbs and not know how he thinks about godliness. And unless there were any remaining doubt, the Appeal to Heaven flag that flew for months at his beach house suggests exactly how he feels about godliness. So, props to Lauren Windsor for getting it in his own mouth, but none of this is a surprise. And I just want to note, we have 2 major abortion cases that are pending that will come down in the next 3 weeks, in which at least one person has very, very, very strong feelings about godliness that will inflect on how that case gets decided.
So, I mean, they engage in a lot of fear-mongering there, but they didn't say anything. I mean, she says you can't read the Dobbs decision and not hear Alito's position on godliness. But she doesn't actually cite an example. She said the same with his Rome speech, which she leads the audience to believe was about the Dobbs decision or about abortion. And it wasn't. It wasn't. And you know that it wasn't, because if it was, it would have been covered 24/7 from then until now on an absolute unavoidable loop. But this is how they operate. They release thinly veiled, ridiculous comments, completely misleading context, and the poor victims of these networks, they believe every single bit of it, man. And this is what they've led these people to believe. They've led them to believe that believing in God now makes you a right-wing extremist. And it's crazy, man. But that's just my take, man. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't already, be a part of our growth. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.